Merry meet and welcome to the daily reading for all signs for today, the 15th of December, 2024. This is Ariel, and today I'm reading with this Marseille Cat Tarot. I'm going to purify with this Vervain by Yves Rocher. 3 sprays in this big room is more than sufficient. You can find links in the video description to purchase the deck of tarot cards and a similar perfume, because this perfume is not very easy to find. Let's see what's in the cards for everybody today. Starting out with the 6 of Cups, Queen of Coins, and then the 10 of Swords. You know, this is what happens to so many of us, is we get on a track where we're, really finding that flow with our soul and the divine design, and we're just nurturing our good and everything's going well, and then we decide that the future is unsafe, and then we start thinking about the future instead of our present moment, instead of all of our power. And our power doesn't exist in the future. Our power exists in the moment. And so many of us are doing so well right now with our spiritual lives and with our craft, with whatever it is that we're doing. And then we kind of allow the ego to toss it out the window as it starts to ponder how bad the future might be. And that there's so many reasons why that's not helpful. But the basic ones are that, first of all, the future's not happening now. The now is happening now. And if you start to worry about what's coming up into the future, you actually start to feed into the future that which you don't want. And so instead of doing that, if we could double down on this solar light, that's what is being recommended here. Something that you've done in the past, but it doesn't work in the past. It only works in the present. So this solar light. Now, many of you may not use the actual technique that I'm calling the solar light, but whatever it is that you do to connect with your soul's will, with the divine will, the divine design of our lives is not predestination. The divine design of our lives is the perfect pattern out of which only good can flow. And if we allow ourselves to align with that pattern, only good will flow. But when we start worrying or expecting or living our lives, trying to duck and cover for this imagined future, then we've taken ourselves out of that divine design, and we've just put ourselves in our own design. And our own design, as wonderful as we are, our own design is never going to be as good as our soul's design, because our, quote, own design isn't our own. It's our ego's. And it's not based on anything unique. It's all based on what everybody else in the world is worried about, everybody else is talking about. So it's like, do you want what the soul wants to give you, or do you want to just do what everybody else is doing? It's really that simple. And it's saying you're going to be nurturing something. So why not nurture your soul rather than the ego mind? Because the ego mind is all about separating and dividing and trying to thwart and do away with the soul's journey, which it can't do, but it can sure try, and it can sure waste a lot of time. It can waste many, many lifetimes, in fact, doing that over and over again. So today's a really great day to make a new choice, to free yourself from worry about the future. Free yourself from that and say, the future is safe. I place my future in the hands of the infinite, and I go free. 3, 6, 9, 10 of Cups. See, that you're supposed to be having a happily ever after. And look at these 2 beautiful King and Queen of Coins. You're supposed to not only be having a happily ever after, you're supposed to be having a wealthily ever after. But then you get the ego saying, and you know what? It's good news. It's good news. Anytime that ego comes along, and in this case it's the Queen of Swords, Miss Cynical, inside of our own minds, coming up with all kinds of reasons why everything's horrible and it's stupid to think about anything that's not absolutely cynical and all that kind of stuff. Whenever that comes up, it's usually a good sign because it's responding to or reacting to something that's wonderful. Because remember, the ego's programmed to self-destruct. And you don't have to play along with your ego. You don't have to. It has no power over you. It's just a habit. You could put that habit down very easily. I had a really big habit of going to Starbucks every morning. And then they pissed me off. I got sick of their dwindling menu and their rising prices. And I said, I'm going to just stop going. And as hard as it's been for me sometimes to just break the habit, because that's what I used to do every day, I stopped. And I know that's a silly example, but it's just a habit. Starbucks didn't have any power over me. It couldn't force me to go in and order coffee that I didn't want. It couldn't force me to go somewhere else, to not go somewhere else or make my own, right? I had that choice. And the same thing goes with this ego. You don't have to do what it says, but we just do because we're used to it. We're grooved to do that. Anytime something great happens, all of a sudden it's Miss Thing over here, this Queen of Swords, trying to undo all of your good. And she tries to do it in a very sly, cunning way. She tries to hide it, as a just kidding or something like that. But just notice the kinds of things that you say about yourself and about other people, especially under your breath, or about the future, or about life in general. And what are you expecting? All of those kinds of things. And when you catch it, when you catch that cynicism, when you catch that negativity, when you catch that self-destructive thinking, just notice it. Don't fight against it. Because water on that particular Wicked Witch of the West is simply your awareness. You heal through noticing. And you can completely thwart her silly plans of destroying all your good by just noticing it and calling it what it is, naming it. And I just use Queen of Swords because it's easy. When I notice myself bitching and moaning about something, I say, oh, Queen of Swords. And then it just stops it in its tracks. No more needs to be done. I definitely don't want to engage with that part of my mind. I don't want to fight against that part of my mind. I don't want to rise above that part of my mind. I just call it out for what it is, and it disappears. It has no substance of its own. And when I am willing to use my awareness according to what I say, rather than just going along with whatever the habit is, I have a lot of power, and I can get, and you do too, and you can stay on the track that you've so beautifully set for yourself. So beautifully set for yourself. So don't allow that ego thinking that is all about destroying the good that you're creating. Don't allow that to be the habit that you just go along with in your mind. And don't believe other people's nonsense either. If other people decide that everything is going to hell in a handbasket and what's the use and we may as well not even try, let them think that. But that's not true. That's not true because you've been proving it to yourself. You've been proving it to yourself that you have power, that you can do wonderful things, and that you can have wonderful things, and you can have a wonderful life no matter what anybody around you is doing or saying. Doesn't matter, because your power doesn't come from other people. Your power doesn't come from circumstances. Your power comes from the infinite. Your power comes from the divine design and from your own soul's journey. And so we always have that choice that we get to make. Do I want to be working on the path of my soul, or do I want to be working on the path of my ego? It's not a value judgment. You're not a bad, evil person if you go down the path of your ego. It's just that you get to deal with all the pain and all of the delay, and all of the cleanup later when you go down that path of self-destruction. But it's not that you're a bad person. It's not that you're an evil sinner. It's just you do have a choice, and you can't do both at once. You can either do the soul's journey or the ego's journey, and you can't really do both. Now, some people tend to try to channel back and forth between the two, and that's a very high stress place to be. That's a lot of stress to live your life in. It's better to just call out the ego when you see it, let it go, and get back to the soul's journey. Working with that solar light meditation takes 30 seconds to a minute at the most, and it's so easy and quick. And you can just do that. You can just do that very quickly, very easily, and not even miss a beat, and just get back to work here because you're working so well. Look at this. I mean, when you have the king and queen of coins working together, that's major prosperity. That is really accomplishing so many things that maybe just seemed like a pipe dream before. But you're doing it. You're doing it at least on some level. At least if it's not completely manifest yet, which it is for some of you, but for some of you, it's still in the sort of the thought phase of things, and that's fine. You lean into the thoughts of your soul. Lean into the thoughts of the divine design. Open your mind and allow your mind to be filled with thoughts from the solar light, rather than those old ego thoughts that are based on nothing other than destroying your good. And there's so many people in the world that will lend their support to you being involved in your ego. There's so many people that would much rather be cynical than happy, that would much rather be ducking and covering for an imagined catastrophe, right? And if you're working with your soul here, with the divine design, even if catastrophe does seem to happen around you, you're protected, and you know exactly what to do. And you know, every catastrophe, somebody cleans up. Somebody profits from it. So why not you, right? You are in such a wonderful position to be happy and to have your life work out for you. Don't let that ego mind and the ego minds of other people hook you back into old habits that you've really done well in breaking. And like I said, when those habits come up, especially it looks like they're coming up very strongly for some of you, don't take that as take it as a good sign. Wow, I must be doing something right. If the ego's so triggered, I must be doing something really well, or the ego wouldn't be so triggered, right? So take it as a good sign, but don't fall into old habits. Instead, go back into those just real simple ideas of whatever got you here in the first place. And for many of you, it was a solar light type of experience. And you're supposed to be having your happily ever after, so live it, and don't worry whether people like it or not. Doesn't matter what they like. What matters is that you're here to prosper and thrive and to be happy. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I so appreciate you. And we'll see everybody for another daily reading on Wednesday, because we are off on Monday and Tuesday. Until then, blessed be.